Hello everyone and welcome. It's Alexandra and this is the last part of the tutorial series that was dedicated to the natural history mini book that you see right here. The last part will be dedicated to some finishing touches to embellishing the pages of the little journals that we had inside, and I will start with showing you that I have added all the remaining fussy cut elements that I have been saving up during the process of assembling the rest of the pages. I glued them down to the pages of the 3 out of 4 little journals that we have inside. The first one of the journals is this. Then we have this one I didn't embellish. Then we have the journal on the last page and also this journal here. These journals are embellished now and I will flip through their pages. I think that it will be rather easy for you to find the correct element for simply gluing it onto the page. I do want to mention that since you will see some stamping and stenciling on the pages as well, I wanted to mention that the stencil that I used was this one. It's called Dot Fade from Tim Holtz. So that's the stencil that I used throughout the pages of all the 3 journals. Then in terms of the color that I used for stenciling on the pages, it was the Distress Ink Vintage Photo. I used a brush and not an applicator to apply the ink. I like using the brush because then you see really faded outlines of the stenciled area, and in my opinion it looks really nice. I also used a stamp with a handwritten script on it to stamp on the pages. The stamp was from Hobby Lobby. I purchased it just a few days ago, and it comes on a wooden block like this. This is how the stamp looks. It is from the brand which is called Stampabilities. That's the name of the brand, and this was the price. And here you can also see the name of the stamp. But as you can see, I decided to take the stamp off the wooden block because I definitely know that I am not going to use it when it is mounted onto a wooden block. I preferred to cut it in 2 pieces and use it just like that. I'm holding it in my hands and then I stamp in the areas of the page that I want to add the stamping to. You can see that I didn't cut it at a straight line, but I preferred to rather have a wavy cut. To make sure that the stamp doesn't stick anymore in the back, I just used some baby powder on the foam layer, and now it's not sticky. To take it off the block, you will just need to carefully peel it off. I didn't heat the stamp. I didn't use any solvents or any liquids to help me peel it off. Now let's get back to the pages of our books. This is the first one that I want to show you. I have stenciled and stamped on each one of the pages. And then I have added a butterfly here and a flower in the label on these pages. And basically I kept going the same way, just selecting the images from the fussy cut elements that I was left with after I finished building all of the pages in my book. And I just glued them down to the pages of the little books. So that's how the pages look like. In some areas, I just glued one image. In some areas, I combined 2 or more. Here I cut the strip of this paper into half and used a piece of it here, and I think there was the second half of this paper piece that I used somewhere else. I will mention that. So that's the first journal. Let's move on to this little journal here. I have added a tuck spot on the inside of the front cover with the journaling card tucked behind. There is a little label added onto the tuck spot right here. And then on the pages of the journal, the situation is the same, just some stenciling and stamping with the same supplies that I previously mentioned, and the fussy cut images glued down on the pages. You can also create tuck spots if you want to. This is the second half of that paper piece that I was talking about before. And we are almost done flipping through the pages of this journal. So here on the inside of the back cover, I have also created a tuck spot and added 2 of these cards in there. And then the third journal is this with the bird. So I have added the label Natural History here in the front, the label with the word simple in the front as well. And this is how the inside of the front cover looks like. We already had the images printed on the page, and I have just glued 2 of the tiny labels on top. Let me show you the rest of the pages in this journal. I'm flipping through the pages slowly, but still I think it will be nice for you to pause the video from time to time and just glue the needed image onto the page, and then keep on watching the video and keep on working on the remaining pages. Okay. Super easy, just gluing what's left in our journal. There were 2 labels that looked like this, so this is the smaller one. Then here we have a flower and a moth, and then this is the last page. And here I have also glued down that card for making an additional tuck spot. There is another tiny label glued down on top, and that piece of paper is tucked behind the card. This is our third journal. I will put the journals aside and we will flip through the pages of the book itself, because I have added a few of the fussy cut elements on the pages of the book as well. We have a label that I have added on the page here. Then on this page, I think I have added the tiniest natural history label and also the punched out postage mark. Then on this page, I don't think I added anything. Here I have added this pink label that said, "Please do not write in this space," this label here. I have also added the reinforcement circles onto the tab of the large card that goes into the pocket on this page. And as you can see, I clipped the faux slide with the birds onto the card as well. Then in the pocket, this is what we have. Okay, let's keep on going. On this page, I have added another label that says sample, and I also added another punched out postage mark and the label order sheet on this page. I clipped another faux slide with the bird onto the first page in this book, and you can see that the rest of the pages are embellished only with stenciling and stamping. There is nothing else glued down in here. Let's tuck it back behind this pocket. And nothing was added to this page, but on this page I added another punched out postage mark. Here we have the label sample, and then on the envelope I have glued down this black moth and added the label with the number 537 in the back. Then I placed a piece of paper that I was left with along with the faux film strip into that pocket. And on the card that we have in the pocket, I have added the tiny labels on both sides. I didn't add anything on this page or on this page. So in the top pocket, I have 2 cards. In the bottom pocket, I have 3 cards. And I also was left with a piece of paper that I wanted to create an envelope with. So let me show you how to do it. We'll first score at 3/8 and also at 2 3/8. Then we will flip the paper piece like so and score again at 3/8 and then at 3. Fold the paper along the score lines that we have created. This is how your paper piece will look in the back. Now I will cut off this section of the paper here. Let me just mark the areas that will be trimmed. So these are the sections that will have to be trimmed. I'm gonna do it now. When I'm trimming a certain paper section, I'm trimming the score line that was created there as well. So you can see that the score line is kind of left on this piece of paper that I'm not going to need anymore. Now this will be the flap of our envelope, so I'm just going to cut at a very little angle there, then also at a very little angle, and I'm hoping that these will look the same. So this is what you're going to have. Then I'm going to cut through the intersection of the score lines here in the corner. And then we need to trim another section of the paper right here. Now, what we're going to do is basically create an envelope for our little tag, and all we need to do now is, if you want to, you can create a notch on this section of our envelope. So I'm going to use my 3/4 inch circle punch. And I also like to kind of round a little bit the corners at the top of the notch so that they look like that. Now I will add some distress ink. Next we will add the glue to the flaps and create our tiny envelope. This tag can go inside, and we can also use a paper clip just to hold it together. Then this envelope will go into the top pocket on the inside of the back cover, and all of our embellished journals will go back into their places as well. If you glued everything down just like I did, you will still have 2 of the circles with the birds and 2 smaller circles that look like this. These circles will be used for our embellishment on the spine of the book, and I have already attached a thread. I put it through the eyelet that I have on the spine of the book, and I tied a knot here. I punched out 3 additional circles out of craft cardstock. I'm going to glue 3 of them together, one on top of the other, making sure that I line them up nicely. At this point, I will also distress the edges of my circles stack. Now we have to create kind of a bead, like a paper bead. It will be flat, but we need to have a channel inside our paper bead so that we could string it or like glue it down on top of the threads that we have on the spine of the book. And for doing that, I am going to estimate what should be the size of that channel first. So if I have 4 threads here, I think that maybe a bit less than 1/8 of an inch in terms of the channel width could be enough. So I'm going to use a ruler and a pencil, and I'm going to sketch 2 lines just like that. I tried to stay in the center, but I think it didn't work that good, but that's okay. It's fine. I'm going to cut now along the lines, and now I'm going to take one circle with the bird. I'm going to take one of the circles with the birds and flip it to the back. I am also going to mark with a pencil that direction for gluing the parts of the circle down onto the full circle. This is how it will look like. Now I'm going to take my journal and make sure that I keep it sort of in a standing position. I'm going to add the glue. First of all, check that you are going to glue it down in the correct way. Our first paper bead is ready and attached onto the spine of our book. The same way I'm going to create the second paper bead and attach it to the threads. I'm also going to create an additional knot between the 2 beads, just as a decorative touch, to make sure that the 4 threads that I have here stay together. The second paper bead is now attached to the threads as well. Let's tie another knot here at the bottom. I'm using a needle tool for finding a better place for the knot, and then I tighten it. I wanted to add a few more beads to the ends of the threads here at the bottom. I'm going to use large seed beads for that purpose, and these are the beads that I got from Hobby Lobby. This is another kind, but it is also of the same size, 6, and I just needed blue color, but in general I'm going to use green, yellow, red, and blue. I think these colors will work nicely with the colors of our book. I'm going to take 2 beads of each color, and I tried to find the beads with large holes because I will have to string them through 2 of the threads. If you want to struggle a bit less with the thread, you can add some glue onto the tip of the thread and then make sure that you kind of roll it between your fingers and glue it together. Now you can easily string your beads onto the thread. Okay, we have added the beads. Now I'm going to tie a knot after the beads. Use your needle tool in order to find a perfect place for that knot. And now I will just cut off the excess threads and take my time in order to separate the threads here at the very tip to create a tassel. This is how it will look like once you will be done with that. You might need to take your scissors and just straighten the edge a little bit so it looks better. I also forgot to mention that I glued down this stamp in the back cover of the book. Now we are done for sure. I hope you enjoyed the process of working on this book. That's it from me for today. If you have any questions, let me know, and see you soon in the upcoming tutorials. Bye!